Hello everybody, Defudge3004 here. So today in this episode of Space Engineers, I thought that we would try building the Rover. So I've already started drilling out some nickel down here. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. So when you find the nickel, you'll know because it has a green look to it. And that's what the nickel looked like once you drill it out of the ground. So we're going to need a lot of nickel because we're going to need that for motors and other parts. And so what I thought is I would just go ahead and drill out a whole bunch of nickel, and as soon as I get done with this, I will talk to you guys here in just a minute. Okay, so you guys may have noticed that I have tried to always put my ice in this chest here in the storage container, and there's a reason why I don't put it in the refinery, because they won't take it. It's grayed out, so you cannot put the ice in the refinery to have it be moved to another container. You have to put it in a container or a oxygen generator or something like that to move it through, because you cannot put it in the refinery to move it through. So I just thought I would explain that a little bit. It just won't go in the refinery, so I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. That's the only reason why I do it that way. And so I just have a little bit more down here I'm going to pick up. I'm not really too worried about a lot of this ice. And if I pick some up, that's fine too. So we have quite a bit of nickel up in our refinery right now. And we are going to need quite a bit of it for like the motors, because we need to repair this motor. If you guys remember right, it was damaged in the last episode when I took off and I didn't really even see it. So we need 3 more motors. And if I remember right, there should be 3 motors up in this storage container right here. So let's come down here. We'll go and take those 6, and let's just go ahead and weld this guy up. And then we'll have this guy fixed. He's not going to attach to the ground until after I lift this guy off, or I go up there and unhook these guys and then hook them back, and then he'll reconnect again. But I'm not really too worried about it because 3 of them are connected. So I'll come up here, put that little bit in there. We have 10,000 nickel, and that's 10,000 kilograms of nickel, so that should be more than enough to do what we need to. So I am going to go and put that little bit of ice in here, and we have quite a bit of ice in our oxygen generator, and I might as well just go and refill that guy. So now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get out some plates, and let's just go ahead and take, I don't know, 200 of them, I guess. So we have that many plates. Okay, there's 53 already in there, so we have 253 plates. And let's come down here, and first thing I'm going to build is a pad, and I'll show you guys why once we get everything done. Now I can place this right up here on the top without it being connected, and other pieces that I place will, if they're in the ice, they won't move. But this guy, if I run into it really hard with something, he may end up moving. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to place this in the ice, so that way he can't move. And I'm going to press B, that'll line it up with like the ship and me. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to make this an 8x8 square. So as soon as I get that done, I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so as I get ready to place these last few squares, I want you guys to notice that when I just try to place this on the ice, it isn't quite lining up with where I want to place it. I can very carefully place it like that, but the best way to get these to place to each other is kind of like Minecraft and any of those other games. Look at the blocks that you're going to be putting these on, and they will connect automatically. You can do it 3 blocks away, I think. So I can look at any of those blocks, and it will just automatically line up on the grid that it's supposed to be in. So I'm just going to go ahead and line these guys up and put these now. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you're not thinking and you're clicking fast, and you do something like that because you're just not really thinking about, you're just trying to get stuff done. What happens is you place that, and then you don't move fast enough and you end up placing that. That's going to happen. It's not that big of a deal. Just grind it down and then you can worry about that later. One thing to also note about the blocks is, okay, whatever number your block is on, like let's say the cockpit, I can press that and I can press it again to make another size cockpit, which is going to be the smaller version cockpit. So that's a smaller version. This is actually the big version. The big version has the hole in the bottom that has to connect to things like an oxygen generator or whatever. You can get in it without that, but if you want oxygen in there, you have to make it connect to the hole on the bottom. The other version, the small ship version, has it on the bottom and the back. So this is the small ship version. And if you go into your G menu, you can see that when you go to cockpits, that's conveyors. Let's go to cockpits. You have a small ship and a large ship version. Over on this right side over here, there's small ship and large ship and station. You can put these on the stations and stuff like that. There's also the fighter cockpit and the regular cockpit, and these are only for the large ships. Now if it has a plus by it, that means you can build one or the other just by scrolling, and these is just one. And there's also a passenger seat, so if you want to have another person ride with you, you can do that. You can put that on a small ship also. So I just thought that I would explain that a little bit. So any number that you're on, this is the large block and this is the small block. And if you look at the large block, it'll automatically turn it into a large block. If you look at the small block, it'll turn into a small block. Okay, now when I'm going to be building this rover, what I'm going to do is take it a small block and I'm put the first one in. And there's something too that I forgot to mention, and that was when you go up on here and I just want to, let's say, place a small block, I cannot place a small block on a large grid. It won't work. It's just going to be rolled around because it will not directly connect to this. Large blocks cannot be built on small blocks. Small blocks cannot be built on large blocks. You can use mods to do it, but I really don't think that's the best way to do it. You're just going to have to use a small block version and the large block version. And again, I can drop this and I can kick it around. So I am going to build my rover on a stand and then I'll drop it down to where I need it to be. Mainly because I want to be able to get underneath it to build the parts, and I'll show you why. So I'm just going to go ahead and place a few of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the stand as high as my character is, and maybe even one block higher. So we'll just see. But so I'm going to do that and do that. Now let's see where they are. Okay, that's about as far as we're going to get. I can put it one more up, and I am going to do that real quick just so I can start building right there on that block. So that's going to be the block that I'm going to be building my ship on. And I'm using the small block variants because they're, well, for one thing, they cost a lot less. So if you happen to wreck it, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get it fixed. The large block variants are fine, but remember that these are large blocks. The ship is going to be a lot taller and therefore more susceptible to rolling, whereas a smaller block is going to be a lot lower to the ground. So that's why I'm using the smaller blocks. Now if you noticed, I go over here, it turns into a large block. I go over here, it turns into a small block, because when you're looking at this block or have it connected to it, it'll automatically change. Didn't used to, but it does now, so I think that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and do, now that's block number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's go ahead and do 6 on each side. It's going to be kind of wide, but these are small blocks, and everything is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to build about like that, a T shape, and then we're going to build out like a square up on here. So as soon as I get done, I'll be with you guys here in just a second. Okay, so as I get ready to place these last few blocks, each one of these blocks is taking one steel plate. So I have all these steel plates and I'm already down to 50. That's how many blocks I've already placed. And remember, I had 230 some odd on me. So this is taking actually quite a few steel plates to build. Now, once I do that, this is going to be like basically the body of our ship where we're going to put everything up on top of. And we're going to have to cut down this part right here, this stem, to be able to drop our ship. But we're going to do that in a little bit after I get all this welded up and add some more parts to it. So I'm going to go and start welding this. And since it only takes one steel plate, that steel plate is already there. So when I weld this, I have 42 plates. So I'm going to go and weld that, and you see that hasn't gone down any. Whereas these guys right here, these guys is already one steel plate down, so you need 19 more plus 5 to finish it off. So you can see these ones take a lot more material, and that's why I'm also building it with this smaller block. For the starters, it's best to build things with the smaller blocks until you get used to building things with larger blocks. This is a large block ship. So if I come over here with number 4 and it's already small, once I click to there, it turns large. So that tells me that's a large block ship. There's all kinds of different things you can use. Use your scroll and you can see there's different shapes and stuff, and you can use your insert, delete, home, and page up and page down to turn them different ways. So if I have this like on the, let's attach it to this one right here, and so I can turn it all kinds of different ways to get it whatever configuration that I want to, and each one will do it a little bit differently to get it to where you want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to go and continue welding this, and as soon as I get this done, I'll be back with you guys here in just a second. Okay guys, so there are two different ways to weld this. You can either weld it, you can press the left mouse button once to weld up each piece like this, or you can double click it and it will just keep the welder on, basically is what it does. And for a quick demonstration, I'll show you guys what I mean here in just a second. Let me get all these guys welded up here real quick. I'm not pressing the button, I'm just letting it weld as it needs to. So let's get this done, and then I will show you guys what I mean by that. So okay, so what I mean by that is with, like, let's say this grinder, I can hold down the mouse button or just click it and it'll grind a little bit. But if I double click it, then it's just going to stay on, because right now my hand is away from the mouse. I'm just looking around right now, but my hand is off of the mouse. So this is what it's doing, it's just constantly running. So that's not a bad thing that you can do that. They just added that in one of the latest updates, so I thought that was really cool too. Now this last piece here, we won't be able to weld that until we can get up on top of the ship, and the best way to get up on top of the ship is to take your blocks, and I already have this ramp block built, and I can kind of raise it up a little bit. And I'm going to have to come quite a ways back here, and I can do it right there. Okay. And then I can get back up on top of here. And it isn't, since these guys do not weld together because they're two different sizes, you don't have to worry about being, about the two pieces getting stuck together. Maybe just getting up on the platform, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so that is welded. This is going to be the base of our ship, and I like to make them to where there's one in the middle, so that way you know where to place your blocks that you want to place, like cockpits or whatever. So to turn it, I'm going to use those keys I talked about, insert, delete, home, in, page up and page down, and I'm going to turn it the direction that I want it to be, and I'm going to place it. And then I can place it over the edge, I can place it right on the edge, I can place it back, and I can place it wherever I want to, but I want to make sure it's going in the direction that I want it to go. So this is the cockpit. Now to weld the cockpit, we're going to need bulletproof glass, steel plates, computers, displays, motors, construction components, and steel plates. You can see the numbers right there on the right side. So this is actually going to take quite a bit. So I'm just going to weld up whatever I can. I don't believe we're going to need an oxygen generator down here on the planet, because that'll automatically get into the cockpit. Once we go up into space, however, we will need an oxygen generator to be able to keep ourselves in air when we are up there. Now remember to watch the lower, down here on the lower left, you can see that my energy is about halfway down, so I got to remember to watch that and make sure I don't get too low. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and see about placing a cargo container. Now there are 9 different slots down at the bottom beneath the tools. There are a bunch of different slots, and I'm going to go to them now. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 being lit up as I do that. I'm using the comma and the period buttons to go between different toolbars. These are all the different toolbars. You can have 9 different toolbars and you can fill them up. Number 0 is always going to be the hand, so you can always have your hands free with number 0 or the tilde key. So I'm going to go to number 2 and I'm going to go to G, and let's just go ahead and put on a medium conveyor. Now the small conveyors for the small are really small, so that's why I'm going to use the medium. They're only for the small ships. There is a mod that you can use for the large ships and stations and stuff, but I'm not really going to worry about that for right now. And I'm going to go and turn it so that way it's like that. I can turn it where it's like that, but I just want it like that. And so there's a little port on the side, so if I want to connect things to that, I can. And I may do that, but probably not right now. On another ship, I probably will, but not this one. So attach that cargo container to right there. We'll go to number... Now, I was going to say number 1, but I don't have anything on number 1. One thing that I recommend that everybody does is on each toolbar, go to your character tools, and somewhere on your toolbar, it doesn't matter where, 1, 3, 5, whatever, put a welder and a grinder. I usually use number 9 and number 8. That way I know on each toolbar I will have these, and I just put them on as they open up a new toolbar. So I'm going to go ahead and go to number 9. I keep hitting number 1, and I don't have hardly anything to do this. So we got to make interior plates, displays, motors, construction components. We got to make a lot of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our assembler, and we are going to go ahead and see about making stuff. So you're going to go to production, and under there you're going to see you have all of these parts that you can make. If you have mods, you're going to have a lot more parts. And I'm going to probably do a tutorial on mods, how to put in mods. It's really easy. It's not hard to do, so we'll see about doing that. If you press Control, you will make 10 of something. So I know I need 30 of these, so I'm just going to hold down Control and click 3 times, and that'll make 30 of those. Now this is off, because you remember when we were flying around, I wanted to conserve energy. So I'm going to turn this back on and go to Production, and it will start pulling things in. Now it's going to pull things in from the refinery here, so I don't have to take these ores and actually drag them up into the assembly. It will automatically pull them in. So if you want to see all the inventories and just drag stuff from one area to the other, click this button. To put it on your character, click this button. So now that you guys kind of have a little bit of idea of what to do there, let's just go ahead and see about, we need to make about 100 of those. We'll make about 300 of those because we need a lot of those. We'll make about 30 of those, 10 of those. Let's go and make about 10 of those. I know we're going to need these for our nuclear reactors, and the small ones don't take near as much as the big ones. So let's go and make 10 of those, and we'll make about 30, 50 of those, and we have enough of those. And let's just go and do about 60 motors. That way we have more than enough. And yeah, let's go and do about 60 interior plates. So the interior plates are for cargo containers and stuff. And let's go and make 1 ore detector. So I just clicked it once, that only made 1. Control is 10, Shift is 100, and Control Shift is 1,000. So I can make pretty much a large amount of stuff, provided that I have the material. Now I cannot take this stuff out and put it in my inventory. I have to go to inventory and make sure this is open on me, and then I can just either drag it or double click it or even shift click. So I can shift click all this stuff in. Now if I wanted to grab, like let's say 1,000 of them, I can shift control and that will grab all of them of that stack. So that's another way to do it. I just generally shift click because that's the easiest way to do it. And then you can see the red bar down at the bottom means our inventory is really full. So let's go and look, and you can see it's already almost up to 4,000 liters. So let's come up here and we'll go to number 9, and let's go and start welding this stuff up. Now you can color these, and the way to color them is you're going to go to a block. Let's just go and go to our first toolbar, and we'll go to this, and then let's go to P. and that will come up with this color picker. And let's say we want to make it red. So you do that, press OK, and then you can click on that item with the middle button and it will turn it that color. So you can turn all these things all kinds of different colors. You can make a rainbow ship if you want to. For right now though, however, I think I'm probably just going to go ahead and stick with more just the white for right now, because I just think that's going to be the best thing for right now. We may color another ship, but we'll see about doing that. But for the time being, I'm just going to go and stick with white. So build this. Now, if you're just going to be running around the planet or whatever, you don't have to have the bulletproof glass. It just makes it stronger. So if you do face enemies, it will help the cockpit to last longer. That's all that really is for. Now, I'm putting this cargo container on here, not because I really need a cargo. I do need a cargo container because I only have 4,000 liters, but this is going to help me to carry a lot more. So if I want to find some ore and stuff and carry that around with me, I can go and put a lot in here. And this is going to hold 33,750 liters. I don't know how many kilograms that is, but it's going to be quite a bit. And the cockpit holds its own weight too. So that's going to help out carry a lot more ore. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a ore detector on here. And that's going to be my number 6 slot. Actually, that's a thruster. What am I doing using the thruster? I don't want to use a thruster. I meant to use an ore detector. Okay, let's go to bar number 2. Go to G. And let's go to O-R-E. And that's the ore detector. And then I'm going to right click and that'll put it on the bar. And then I want to find the beacon. And I like that. B-E-A. Click on that, and then I want to have the... Now for the power blocks, those are pretty easy to find. Just go to power, and you can see you have the large reactor and small reactor. That's going to take a lot more material than the smaller ones, so we're just going to use smaller for right now. And I don't think we're going to need a gyroscope. We won't need a gyroscope. You can put a gyroscope on it if you want to, then your mouse will actually help turn the ship. So I'm not going to really worry about putting on a gyroscope. So I'm just going to go and put a couple of these on, and I am going to put one right there and one right there, and then I'm going to come over on this side and put one using the delete key in this case. Turn those like that and put those right there, and then go back to my welder and weld these guys up. Now, these guys are unpowered because I don't have any uranium ingots on me. I will. And just so you guys know, let's say this was a enemy ship. Like you're trying to take over the enemy ship. So you see that blue and red line right there. If you grind down beneath that line and then weld it back up, this certain item will become yours. So if you're trying to take over a ship and fly it back home, grind down the cockpit past that line and then rebuild it with the parts you ground off, and then that will be yours. You can get in and out of it. Otherwise, you cannot get in and out of it. Okay, so we're going to weld these up. I actually right-clicked by accident, and that will cancel the weld. So you see, yeah, it says, yeah, it just cancels the weld. So if you guys want to cancel your weld, just right-click. I didn't mean to do that, but I did, so... We might actually think about putting on another cargo containers that'll help us carry a lot more, but for right now I don't think we're going to. And let's see about putting on a ore detector and a beacon. And maybe I'm going to put the ore detector on like maybe right up here or something, and I'm going to lay him down. Now I can also put him inside of there and have him kind of face down, but I think I don't want to have that too close to the ground just in case we hit something. And this can be anywhere on the ship. It can be up on top of here, it can be back here, it can be hanging off the back, it can be anywhere you want to put it. Sometimes I'll actually put stuff down inside of here. So like what I mean by that is I will come to here and I will actually grind down a plate like that, and then I will like put the ore detector in there like that. So that way it is in there and facing down and stuff. And sometimes I'll put cargo containers on like the large ships and do it that way to conserve space. So when I'm building my ship, it's not everything is up on the top taking up a lot of space. But for this time right now, I'm actually not going to really worry too much about that. And I just put in an angled block for some reason, because I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. So I'll take that out, go back to the 4 and scroll back 1. And then rebuild that. Okay. So that was actually a little bit different color. So I can go to 4 and I can go to P and then I can put it on this one. Okay. Click and now. Okay. It isn't changing the color back to what it should. Okay. You can see that's a little bit different color. So don't know why it's being so cantankerous, but it is. So alright. You can shift click and it will turn everything that same color in large areas. So we're just going to make this nice and bright white so you guys actually kind of go blind. No, I'm not trying to make you guys blind. I can figure out how to walk on here again. Okay, now it's also going to color these, so that's really not necessarily a bad thing. And then shift click will do large areas, so that's fine. Okay, that guy's already the same color and it go beep when you're doing it. So, alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put the ore detector on as I've been trying to do here for the last couple of minutes. And let's go and do it right back here. I could put a spotlight in front of it. That ain't going to hurt anything. It'll work just the same. So build that guy up. You can see it takes a little bit of parts, not a lot. A big one will take a lot more parts. And let's come over here and let's put a beacon in right over here on this side. So do that. Go to number 9. Build that guy up. Now, a large beacon is going to take a lot of stuff. So just so you guys are aware. Now, right there, basically our platform of our ship, the area they're going to be working on. I know it seems a little overkill to have this big, huge thing right here, but this is going to be a lot of stability. It's also weight, but it's going to be stable. So then what I'm going to do is come down here, and now I have to find wheels to put on it. So let's go back to G, and let's go to all blocks. I'm going to right-click this on here. Okay, so the best way to know how to put these on is rotate this. You want the round side up, so you want that S looking thing that's on the bottom to be down on the bottom, and you want the piston, there's a piston there, and you want that to be on the top. And so there is kind of like a round part, you might say, on the top, and you want the, I guess, the bigger part on the bottom. So I'll put one right there, and that makes that wheel. And I think I'm going to put one actually right. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. One right there in the middle. Maybe, yeah, right there. And I'm going to put one more. And every time you move, sometimes it switches the keys or when you use it. It drives me crazy. Do that. Okay, so that's one side of the wheels. Oh, hey. How do you like that? I missed one. Alright, so let's just go to... There we go. Now I just shift clicked, even though I'm holding this part, but since this part's going to be that same color... Oh, you drive me crazy. There, right here, right here. And yes, I'm using 6 wheels. It's going to be more weight, but it's also going to be a lot more stable. And I can also insert these guys like a little bit into here, so that way they are some like inside of here if I want to. If I want to be a little bit narrower and stuff, and I can do it that way. So let's go ahead and get this guy welded up, and as soon as I get this guy welded up, I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start welding these last 2 wheels, and you actually have to do the wheels and the wheel suspension. And so you can see that there's kind of like a piston up there, set of pistons, and then there's this bracket down here. This has to be on the bottom. So I watched some tutorials on it. So when you grind this down, you're gonna have to grind down the wheel and the suspension. So just so you guys know, if you would make a mistake or whatever, you gotta grind them both down. So we'll do that. Do this. And then right there is basically our Rover. Now remember, the weight is also going to make it sometimes a little front heavy, and we can always manage that by putting, another cargo container on the back or something. And as far as I know, that's about what we're going to need, because we can steer it without the gyroscope and all that stuff. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this guy. And this is going to be the fun part. So I'm going to go to the first toolbar for my blocks, and I'm going to see about placing a block just a little bit underneath here. Okay. Just a little bit underneath it on my foot. Okay. Well, at any rate, easy's under there, so... And maybe not quite as far under there this time. You lower that one down a little bit, put him right there. Okay, now comes the moment of truth, and what I'm going to do is come back here on this far side, and I keep on doing the wrong things. So I'm going to take out this, and it's going to come down some, so I'm just going to go and crouch so I'm a little bit lower. Then I'm going to grab the uranium ingots, and I'm going to put them in the reactors, and then we should be ready to go. Now you can see that's already angled, so what I'm going to do is just... Okay, now I should have probably had that guy out a little bit, but that's okay because I can still reach this. Okay, there we go. Then I can drop this. Alright. And another good thing is too, with this being so low, is I can actually get up on top of it really easy. Now, I need to put uranium ingots in here, so let me go and grab some real quick. Oh, darn it. Keep pressing the wrong darn button, man. I'm having all kinds of fun today, or not. Okay, so let's go up here, and we'll grab some uranium ingots, and we'll come into here, and let's just go ahead and grab like 20 of them. So that'll be 5 for each, since there's 4 reactors. Okay, so we're grinding up some more uranium. We got cobalt and a little bit of silver to go. Let's just go and get rid of that. Now, we did grind up a whole bunch of gold, but that's all the gold that we got. So we can probably find some more gold and grind a whole bunch more up. You get a tiny little bit of gold for a lot of ore, a fair amount of silver for the ore, a lot of nickel, a lot of silicon, a lot of iron, some cobalt, a lot of gravel, a little bit of uranium, not as much as we could, and platinum you won't get very much at all. Platinum and uranium are the two you'll get the least of, but they're also the two that, especially platinum, you don't need a lot of, or the gold. So I told you guys that I was going to show you what this platform was for, and we will be doing that here in just a minute. But let me just go ahead and put a bunch of ramps on here. So when I get done, I can just drive my Rover right up onto this platform. And that's kind of another reason why I kind of sunk it down into the ice. That's as low down as I can make it go. So I'll come over here, and we're just going to go ahead and click on that with the F button. Right click, drag it in, press 5, so that puts 5 in there. F, back out. Okay, you can see it's already turned on the beacon. And we'll come to here, and we'll go and press 5, confirm. F, back out. I'm just going to jump up on. Come on, I said jump up. Oh, come on, you can do better than this. Alright, fine. Okay. 5, confirm. Yep. Okay. For this last one, we can just F, open it up, and just double click that right in there. Okay, now you're probably wondering what this is for. So you can hook up things to like the front of here, and you can also build with this cockpit. We'll get into that much later, but if you can hook up like a driller or a grinder or whatever to here, then it'll also feed it through to that cargo container through the back of the cockpit. If you have like a oxygen generator there, then it will feed it in so long as the big side is to the big side. So, and I guess I should probably show you guys that. So give me a minute and I'll get this stuff set up. Go to V and go to K, and then I'm gonna go to beacon. I'll turn that all the way up so we see it if we happen to misplace it or die or whatever. And I'll show you guys what I mean by that here real quick. Excuse me, get out of here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and see about building an oxygen generator. If I can't jump up on here, then oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grind this down, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So you guys see those two squares right there. So if I go to this next one, go to G, and that will be production blocks. And so the oxygen generator is two different sizes, large ship and small ship. And this has a big side to it, and it also has a small side to it. So these little small squares right there are going to attach to these small squares. So what you got to do is, again, look at it, flip this around, make sure that's lined up, and it is. Do that, go to your welder, weld this guy up, and then we can go ahead and put our cargo container back on. And you want the large one, the large port here to match the large port on the oxygen generator. And then I'm going to turn it so that way there are the little squares on the side, the ports on the side. We'll go back to our welder, and we'll do this. Okay, so this is going to be our rover, and we can drive around on it and stuff. We can fill this with ice if we want to, so that way we can, you know, still be able to have oxygen and hydrogen and stuff, because otherwise we won't be able to get any hydrogen because there's no ice in there to get our hydrogen for our suit. Okay, so now we're in our ship, and if you press A and D, it will turn the wheels. And if you have a gyroscope on here, you can turn the mouse left and right, and it will steer that way for you too. So we're just gonna go ahead and drive around some and check this out, man. So what do you guys think? You guys like this? It's pretty cool, huh? Okay, so this is also going to be a really good way to get ore, because then we can drive around like this. We can really kind of see where the ore is, because we're going to be a little bit higher, so we can really see where these dark spots are. And with a larger one, you can also, you know, see where that stuff is too. So we do know that there is ore down here, so you can see it's already detecting ice. The farther down the ore is, the harder it is going to be for this thing to detect it. And press the space bar to stop. And so let's go and see. That guy's going to be right close to the ice. So let's go over here and see if we can actually find that guy. Now you can't go really super duper fast in these things, plus you probably don't really want to, because if you wreck, it's, you know, not going to be so pretty. So again, we can just use, you know, we can turn and stuff like that, and we can stop with the space bar. And so one thing that I always did is I always had like the left control be the F key that got me in and out of the cockpit. Problem is, half the time I meant to hit Z to have my dampeners turned on and off, and I would end up hitting the control and end up jumping out of my cockpit when I'm going really fast. So that was never a good thing, but you know, it happens. So let's go and see what is going to be on this guy. And so he's going to be right here in the side of the hill, and so we're only like a meter above the ground right now, so which isn't bad. Okay, get up here, and then we'll slam on the brakes. Okay, guy's gonna have to get out, and this guy's gonna roll backwards, of course. So once he's on the flat ground, he'll quit rolling. Okay, there we go. Well, let's just go up here and see if we can get this. Now you can run up here, but you're not gonna be able to drive up here until you have like a lot more power and stuff for your wheels and stuff, which means you gotta adjust those settings, and that can really be the part that requires a little bit of like precision and stuff. So I'm gonna press Z, turn on my dampener, so that way I'm not just going wherever. Okay, and here that beacon is. And so you can see this one's actually a little bit different color than the other one. So let's click on this and let's see if we get an item. Sweet. Badger boots. Nice. Okay. And then we're going to go to our grinder and we'll just start grinding this guy down. I see there are round pieces in here too. Yes, there are round blocks in the base game, so you can build, you know, some pretty cool stuff. One of my friends loves to build round ships. He likes to have the rounded corners and stuff. And it does look pretty nice. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get the uranium out of there. Let's see if I can actually get into there. We'll find out what's in there. Cool. We're just going to take that out. Thank you very much. And carefully grind him down. We'll take out those ingots. We'll just grind all this baby down. Okay, parachute hatch. That was a mod at one time, the parachute, but they decided to add it in the game. Okay. Be careful when jumping, because falling will hurt you, so. Some of these things can be darn dangerous. You can get caught in some of these. Luckily, it is a voxel game, so you can destroy pretty much anything around you if you have your drill with you, which you always should, so. Okay, let's go to V, and we'll just go to the outside. You can also use the S key to stop, but I just generally use the handbrake. Okay, now for... Oops. Yikes. That's what happens when you're not paying attention and you hit the wrong button. Yeah, that's what I would sometimes do in space, and I end up trying to catch up to my ship. So, I'm going to go to K this time, and the ore detector... Oh, that's why, because we need to make him go all the way to 50 meters down. That's why I wasn't detecting anything. I don't know why it was set to 1 meter, but... Okay, now we should be able to detect a lot. So you can see that that's going to detect a lot more stuff. So... Hitting shift will not make you go any faster. It just won't, so you don't need to worry about doing that. Now, as soon as you find one of those black patches, then you will see that we're going to find some more ore. And since then we have some over here by our lander, go over here. And then I will show you guys some of the settings on the wheel so you guys can have an understanding of that. So we're almost there. Now we're going to start detecting ore here in just a couple seconds. So you can see we're already detecting nickel. And that means there's a lot of nickel underneath here. So one of the things you're probably going to need to know is how to set the settings on the wheels. Go to your K and then go, this is the settings. So let's go to wheels and let's just go ahead and make all of these one block. So we can do it like that, shift and then left click from the top to the bottom of that area. Let's just go ahead and do Rover wheels. Okay, save it. Now, whenever we come click on this, it will automatically have those highlighted. So steering angle, so we can have it steer a lot, you know, farther or closer, barely steer, still really tight. Steering speed, steering return speed. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is. You can invert the steering so it turns the opposite way of what you were intending. So this is going to be how much power it takes. So we want a lot of friction to be able to, you know, grab really good. And the strength to be able to go up like steep hills and stuff. We can go into the up, like, let's say 60%. Now this is the height for how high up they are. I'm just going to leave that alone. Suspension travel, I'm going to leave that alone. The speed limit, well, we can set it to go really fast, but I think I'm just going to go and take that down to about 80 or whatever it was. 85, I guess, is whatever it was. Just going to leave that alone. You can get in really deep trouble really fast for that. Now, this friction is actually going to help us to go a lot faster. You don't have to worry about saving anything right now. So, it really is going to grab a lot better, and we'll be able to turn a lot easier and stuff. Okay, so this game is not like Minecraft where it saves once you get out of the game. So you're going to go to your escape button and you're going to go to save, and you wish to save your progress, yes, and then make sure it says, you know, mine says World of Fudge saved, and then when you exit the game, you can go and save it there too. So, or exit the game to go back to Windows. Okay, so now we're just going to go and come up. Oh, front, not the side. Okay, come up here and we'll turn around. We'll park this guy, and we have built our rover. It really isn't that hard to build. You just got to get all this stuff except for like the platinum. And there's another reason why I also build these wheels close together, so that when you try to pull up on something like this, there's X, thank you. Okay, Z, turn your dampeners on. Okay. So I also have the wheels built so close, so that way I can climb up on stuff like this without getting high centered right there in the middle. Okay, so hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Thank you for the new subscribers. I really enjoy you guys. Thank you for coming to join me on this episode of Space Engineers. Next episode, we will look at possibly making a ship, a driller. There's a driller, a grinder, a welder. You can make a general purpose ship, and I can show you guys how to do that. So that way you can grind and weld in one ship. And I would advise not putting drillers on this ship. And if you go to G, if you go to weapons and tools, you can see that there are drills on here, and these were actually used to drill into the ground using a ship, but I would advise not doing that. I did that on another single player and pretty much went straight down into the ground because I don't know of a way to make it angle in at not so steep an angle. So that was my experience, not a very pleasant experience. But I hope you guys had a great time building this with me, and hopefully we'll be building some more stuff, and I will see you guys. These guys are off, aren't they? Look at that. I'm gonna have to, yes, once. Hey, where are you going to, bud? No. No. Thank you. Sometimes what you can do is put like a block or something behind there to keep these guys from rolling. But that's also another reason why I built it on the ice. It's nice and flat. So another thing I was going to mention is putting up on a hill like that over there, you can build it out straight flat and park something on it instead of like following the contour of the land. So just, you know, so you guys are aware of that. So I hope you guys had a great time. I had a wonderful time building this thing and driving around, checking stuff out, and we can find more ore a lot easily with this because it's going to be a lot lighter and easily maneuverable, whereas this thing is going to be slow and clunky and kind of heavy. So we might put thrusters on this guy to help us get around a little bit better, but we'll probably do that on another episode. So I hope you guys had a great time, and we will talk to you guys later. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing and liking and sharing, and feel free to do so. And I will talk to you guys next time. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.